Well, let's move on where we left off. Welcome back again. This is Yunus Emre Alcıoğlu, you already know. And here you are in Somehow I Design. You already know that too. With that being said, we are continuing the creation of Jaguar Type 0. This is the second episode. So in this case, in the last episode, we were kinda created bodies different than each other. They are not connected. So in this case, I am connecting the two different bodies, as in this case this is a greenhouse and the bonnet, by using weld tool. Weld and unweld tools we are using the most to connect different subdivision patch layouts each other. And most of the time, and in this case as well, I have welded the two different bodies, and the end of this weld operation, the layout tends to shape smoothly, a smooth transition, as if you have a huge G2 continuity between. That is why I have I am selecting each CVs, each CV rows individually by using select edge or pick edge tool, and giving it a crease so that we can see more or less the differentiation between the big surfaces, and keeping the surface layers as simple as possible by using crease tool. I use the most, as you can see here as well. It kinda relieves the topology because the patch layouts, subdivisional bodies, tend to act in a crazy way. If you don't use some crease or hard edge in some certain connections, you kinda go away from the design result. I mean the aiming design result, since we already know that the belt line coming from the greenhouse goes to the headlamp is kind of straight hard edge. We don't need to soften that out in subdivisional bodies. It is good to give it a little bit of crease so that we understand next time in the next step we will use bevel on top of it to make it smoother, but not like a huge blend. It's like a small fillet when it, I mean, at least that I can explain. Yeah, before you apply bevels, leave it as applied crease so that you can have less amount of CVs, meaning that you have the control over the overall volumetric data. But if you apply bevels, I mean, so early, you kind of lose the control over the model. That is why I am just being patient in here and not applying bevels on the every hard edge that I see, just waiting until its time arrives before I am satisfied with the overall topology, overall volumetric data. I tend to not use bevels. I mean, the powerful approach that you can apply for the 3D modeling is to be able to control the model as long as possible, because when we are getting close to the end, almost I'm assuming the 5th or 4th episode, once we apply design details like all the fillets, in this case they are called bevel, all the bevels, maybe all the shot lines, the gaps, the possible gaps, and certain design details, maybe the material deviations, material differences, we have to unweld or we have to cut trim some certain bodies, you will begin to realize, and we will see that is gonna come again. You will begin to realize that you are getting to the end of the 3D model, of course, but meanwhile you are losing the control over the volumetric data. So before you put further details on your project, just save as a copy aside, so that if something kind of messes up, you can go back again and begin from where you left off. I'm not explaining the things on the screen at the moment because this is pretty much the same things. I'm trying to capture the volumetric shape. In this case, I am thinking on my mind that maybe it is better to mimic the overall proportions on the top view. But since it is not orthographic, since it is perspective, maybe in the orthographic view that line is almost vertical to the ground. But in this case, on top view, I have give it a little bit angle to kind of mimic the image from the top. It depends on the choices that you've done during the process, since it is pretty much on the space waiting to be shaped. We are just trying to find the volumes as close as possible to the final design. This is pretty much what we can do, since we don't have any orthographic blueprints, which is a general case. If you are in a design studio, you never have the orthographic or blueprints, because those outputs are the end results of the project. Of course, these sketches, these photoshots, sorry, are the end results of the project as well, but we are acting those are as if the design sketches. Pretty much the same method once you have your design sketches aside. And the thing is, maybe it is, if you are doing your own project, maybe it is more logical to create some doodles on the orthographic views as well, on the paper. I mean, while you are sketching the front quarter view and the side view and the rear quarter views, we tend to sketch it with a really in-depth perspective. But once you are getting into the 3D, you have those sketches aside. Of course, these are great, but you kinda figure it out that in some certain way you need some orthographic details to apply during the 3D process. That is why most of the designers doing the side view orthographically mostly, but sometimes front and the rear orthographic as well, just to be sure that every line is where it's supposed to be on the 3D model. So yeah, we are, as you see, overall volumetric data is getting to somewhere. I'm just trying to align with some CV placement. Some CVs are looking odd, and I'm trying to change them until they kind of make sense. We have totally broke that circle when it comes to the wheel lip, but we will fix that in a later phases for sure. No worries, since this is a subdivisional model and trying to capture the volume. It's just at some point I have changed the wheel lip, and I understand from the side view, if I can trace over the wheel lip on the side view, it does not look as precise as it should be, because the volumes when it between the greenhouse between the greenhouse and the front end volume is not is not the same as we are looking at this side view sketch, since this is a since this is not an orthographic view. The volume changes, so that is why I tend to kind of change the wheel lips and so on. This is pretty much try and fail situation, and it is the most time consuming part of the 3D model. Until you have the satisfied volume data, you will see it is easy to apply the rest of the design elements. But until you reach that phase, it is pretty much finding the volumes in the 3D empty spaces one of the hardest and time-consuming things in 3D modeling. On top view, it seems we are okay. I am like snapping. On top view, more or less, we captured the feeling actually. But you see, from the front wheel lip, I am actually sliding it to closer to the greenhouse. But I realize actually in the later phases that space actually is not enough. Once we look at the images later on, I guess I have dived in too much and kind of lose the volume of the car. But once we go away from it and look at from it far away, I will realize that the gap, the volume between front wheel arch and the greenhouse is supposed to be twice as much. This is too narrow at the moment, but it starts to show itself off. Maybe in here I haven't realized that yet. I am trying to add the other design elements. I have used unweld tool for the front patch layout, and once I have detached that subdivisional body from rest of the surfaces, I pulled some CVs to the ground, mimicking that front view, and I'm unwelding that those edges, thinking it like how can I shape it according to the front view. This is pretty much like I think something and I apply, and then realize probably it is not the best decision. I kind of go back, weld them each other and try something else. Yeah, this is like you find your answers along the way. Actually, the 3D modeling, in the 3D modeling process, you don't have no one is telling you where to put that exact CV on the space. Yeah, you just find the way while you are modeling it. So I have added another CV row over there, hoping to use that as a headlamp, and it kind of broke the topology, so that is why I will be connecting that along the mirror axis, because that surface had 5 edges. Once adding that CV row, it kind of go back to the 4 edge. At the same time, we should consider the topology too, but since this is a fun project, I'm just being loose with it a little. Yeah, once you duplicate it on the y-axis on the symmetry plane, and then selecting the edges and creating the bridge between, don't forget to give the crease tool back where they supposed to be. Sometimes during the process I sometimes lose the symmetry history unconsciously, and then I do the aligning to the symmetry plane again and connecting the surfaces again. Yeah, I have extended that front end and trying to think a way to connect the patch layouts actually. But in the end, we are going to be detaching, since it is a different material than the body color. It's a kind of piano black or something like that. We will detach it. And as you can see from the side view, we are getting a little bit far away from the image. And no worries, like I said before, this is not an orthographic view, so there should be some differences while we are looking at our model in orthographic view. At the same time, sketch or photo is not orthographic, so of course there is going to be some differences. Yeah, I have detached the patch layout by using unweld tool. Unweld is pretty much detach, while weld is attach. As we do, if we do the comparison between the NURBS and the subdivisional tools. And using extend tool again, side extender, and tucking those CVs in a little to give, and then crease. When I do radical movements for the topology, mostly I use crease tool because it tends to create a transitional big blend between, because this is a subdivisional body's nature. But I use crease tool so often to keep the topology under my control. And still we haven't used any bevels. Forget the bevels, I mean, until the end of the day you are not supposed to use bevels. Once you use bevels, it means that you are certain, you are satisfied with the body, with the 3D you have created. You are not in a search anymore. You have your answers, you are satisfied with the design that you do, and let's bevel things up to create more realistic endings of the edges. Yeah, other than that, you shouldn't use any bevels, since in this case we are still exploring the volumes in the 3D space. Applying bevels will only make us kinda not get there. I mean, it kinda prevents us getting the results that we should, because it is getting too detailed. That is why we tend to not use bevels at this beginning phase. And sometimes, you know, since we are using the subdivisional modeling in one of the famous A-class modeling software, there are some beneficials comes with it, which is we don't even need to use the bevels. Once you use the bevels, I mean, you cannot even say how much millimeter radius that you applied actually. It's not working like that. But to be more precise, and since we are, like I said again, in the one of the top used A-class modeling software, which is Alias, we can use the fillet tools embedded in it as NURBS modeling. You can apply every hard edge. You can apply fillet tool every hard edge, and now you can kind of give, let's apply 50 millimeter chordal length fillet on top of that cross section. Yeah, on top of that edge you can apply. But in bevel, I don't think it works that way, because once you make it 50, it is not calculating the bevel, as far as I know, as the radius amount as in the NURBS modeling. Yeah, I have I have created a rectangle here and kind of placing it according to the arc of the front body, and the CV is pretty much gonna mimic it. You see, I delete the rest of the body and duplicate it on the other axis, and then use bridge tool so that I can apply the symmetry plane tool on top, so I don't need to do everything. I don't need to pull every CVs at the same time. Yeah, we have, let's say we are satisfied with it. I have inserted a curve and projected on the surface, and duplicated that curves as a that curve on surfaces as a normal curves, and use patch array tool. Once you select the object that you want to array, and then you select the path array tool, you select the path later on, and Alias duplicates that volume according to the path and gives you some options to play with. And once you play with the options and you are satisfied with the design, it's good to go. It took like 10 seconds to apply that grid. Yeah, actually, we are coming to an end for this episode, guys. We totally broke that. We totally broke that wheel, by the way. Don't mind. We will be diving into that. Yeah, most of the surface kind of begin to show itself. We are coming to an end for this video, and thank you for watching until here. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment below your thoughts under the comment section. It will be really helpful for the channel to grow, guys. Thank you so much. And while you are watching the rest of the video, I wish you have a great week, and yeah, see you on the next episode. Bye bye.